Hey everybody, welcome back to the Wolfe Pit. You guys know my love for meat in general, but I have a special kind of love for pork, of any kind. So it was a no-brainer when the National Pork Board reached out and offered me the opportunity to partner with them. This video is sponsored by the National Pork Board. Over the years, in many of my videos, I've talked about how easy it is to grow various cuts of pork and how economical it is in general. Most people overcook their pork and believe the misconception that pork juices need to run clear, which is the best way to ruin a beautiful, juicy piece of pork. It's blasphemy to overcook leaner cuts of pork. Doing so dries out the meat and makes it gritty, which makes some people turn their nose up to pork because they think all pork is dry and gritty. I've gotten many comments about my pork being undercooked or raw, which it's neither. I've beaten the dead horse to death about whole muscle cuts of pork like pork loin, pork tenderloin, and pork chops are most delicious and juiciest, and most important of all, perfectly safe to eat when they're not overcooked and the internal temperature has reached 145 degrees, with an accurate thermometer of course, and then followed by a 3-minute rest. Pork is naturally delicious and really only needs salt and pepper, but to me, it's even better when you add your favorite rub or marinade. Did you know that pork tenderloin is considered an extra lean cut of protein by the USDA? And it's just as lean as boneless, skinless chicken breast. It's also an excellent source of nutrients important to our health, such as thiamine, niacin, riboflavin, vitamin B6, phosphorus, and protein. And it's also a good source of zinc and potassium. So today, I'm going to be cooking these two beautiful, monstrous, double-cut bone-in pork loin chops that weigh in at 1.5 pounds each. This is a pork chop that Fred Flintstone will be proud of. I'm going to start off by dry brining these beauties with a very liberal dose of kosher salt. I know, this looks like a lot of salt, and it is a lot of salt. But remember, these are big pork chops. There's a rule of thumb to dry brining. For every pound of meat, you use a half a teaspoon of kosher salt. So we ended up using a little bit less than 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt per chop. And the reason we didn't use the whole 3/4 teaspoon is obviously because of the bone. I love dry brining. It's much easier and less wasteful than wet brining. Initially, the salt will pull the moisture out of the pork chop, but then the meat reabsorbs the moisture and holds it in. After salting both sides of the pork chops, they go into the fridge for about 4 hours. The bigger the piece of meat, the longer it needs to brine. Here's our beautiful pork chops after dry brining for 4 hours in the fridge. And you can see that all the salt's been dissolved and absorbed. And the pork chops themselves have changed from a bright glossy pink to a dull pink through the brining process. But now is when you got to be careful when you go to season your pork chops. Obviously, you don't need to add any additional salt. You can simply just add some black pepper and that would be good. But if you use a barbecue rub or other seasoning with salt, you want to be careful you don't oversalt your pork chops. So you want to check the sodium level on the seasoning you're using, or simply use it sparingly. But you guys know me, I gotta add a little bit more flavor since we're not saucing these. So I sprinkled the chops with some of my favorite no salt rub. And when you season the pork chops, make sure you season all sides, especially the succulent pork fat, which is honestly my favorite part. Now I'm smoking these chops first, and any grill or smoker will work. You just want to set up your grill or smoker for indirect cooking, and set the temperature to 250 degrees. And what goes better with pork than apples? And the same goes for the smoke wood. And that's what I'm using today for the smoke, apple wood pellets. Once your grill is preheated to 250 degrees, add your chops to the indirect side of the grill, then close the lid and let these smoke until they reach an internal temperature of 130 degrees. After an hour and a half, our chops are at 130 degrees. Now we'll take them off and put them on a platter and loosely tint with foil and let them rest while we crank up the heat on the grill to finish the chops off with a nice sear to get that nice char and caramelization on the outside. Once the grill was up to 500 degrees, on went the chops. And we're going to grill them until the internal temperature reaches 145 degrees, which will take about 7 to 8 minutes per side. These chops were getting more beautiful by the minute, and my mouth was watering more and more by the minute. Once the pork chops get to an internal temperature of 145 degrees, give or take a degree, and they're about done. And you want to let your pork chops rest for a minimum of 3 minutes at 145 degrees. Now I like to remove the piece of loin from the bone and then slice it. It just makes for a nice presentation. And you can slice it as thick or as thin as you like. Either way, it should be very tender and very juicy. Isn't that simply a beautiful, mouth-watering piece of pork? Look at how juicy it is. And I know people have been working on smell-o-vision for a long time, but I need to start working on tender vision because this pork chop was like butter. I think it had just the right amount of salt. It was nice and smoky, juicy, tender, and most of all, delicious. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope you give this a try. Please don't forget to like this video and subscribe, and I'll see you soon.